Build the body, lead the home, honor God. This is where discipline meets devotion. This is the 3F life: faith, family, fitness, and I'm your host, Connor. And today I want to get into my journey about fitness and where this has brought me, where this is taking me. And one thing that I'll say is something that was really difficult for me to get my head around is you see these YouTubers that are just shredded. They're, bodybuilder type builds, and at my worst point I was like 230 pounds. And it was like, man, I can't even picture myself looking like that. It's hard for me to take advice from somebody like that. And on the flip side, if you got a better physique than me, then don't take my advice when it comes to fitness. This is for the man that has lost his way, just as I did. This is for the man that's overweight, that looks in the mirror every day and is disappointed looking in the mirror. And this is what I lived through for probably 7-8 years of my life. Every day, after I got out of high school, I weighed about 180 pounds in high school. And then by the time my son was born, so I graduated in summer of 2015, or right before summer. And my firstborn son was born in July of 2016. So from that kind of year and a couple months, I had put on 50, 60 pounds. And I full on dad bod. It's crazy looking at before and after, and after, and even further after where I am now. And I just, I got into that mode of life where you just work and you get quick fast food and you don't go to the gym because you're spending time with your woman. And it was just a really terrible time in my life. Apart from having a kid and those blessings that come with that. But my health was not good. I had a kidney stone. And anytime I got sick during this stretch of 7 years, I would be sick for 1-2 weeks, just uncontrollably sick, where I'd be missing work. I was so sick. And I'm the type of dude that if I got a cough or something, I'm going to work. I'm just, the only time I'm not going to work is where if I feel like I'm dying or something like that, But this is, so if you're like I was, if you're overweight and you look in the mirror every day and you just are mad at the man that you see, this is the video for you. If you're jacked and you got a six-pack and you're in better shape than me, you might not get anything out of this. And, that I totally understand. So this isn't necessarily made for you unless you just are curious about my journey. But one thing, a lot of people will say, you don't want to ever speak poorly about yourself. You always want to have these good thoughts about yourself. And I believe in that. I do believe there's really something to positive affirmations on yourself. But at the same time, if you live your life blind to the reality of it, if you live your life and you look in the mirror every day and you're fat, but you can't admit that to yourself, if you're on the whole, oh, I'm big boned, I carry this weight really well nonsense, then you're never going to have that moment where you're I got to make a change right now. I don't want to be in this position next year. I don't want to be like this to where I die before my kids grow up. I don't want to be fat and overweight my whole life where it hurts going up a set of stairs where I'm out of breath. I used to have an apartment back in 2018 that was on the 3rd floor. And I thought it was really cool. You got top apartment. You don't have to worry about anybody above you, stepping on your roof and everything like that. But carrying groceries up 3 flights of stairs when there's no elevator at that weight, man, that was brutal. But I lived like that for years, to where I would look in the mirror and I wasn't depressed or anything in myself. I just was fat and I was cool with it. But one day I just woke up and I looked in the mirror and I spoke to myself in a way that I hadn't before. And I had a little bit of anger. This isn't the version of me that I want to be. What did you do to yourself? You just have that one-on-one talk with yourself eternally. And from that, it was from this day going on, the version of myself today, he better be better than the version I was yesterday. I want to destroy yesterday's version of myself on a daily basis. So when I look at myself in a year, that version of me is going to be 10 times better than I am today. And I don't think that we should ever get into a point where we don't have that mindset. Like, I have that mindset today, even though I'm in better shape than I was. Like, this version of me today, I'm not happy with it. I'm happy with the progress I've made from the last year, the last 2 years. I'm proud of the, like, where I've gotten, like, how far I've came. But I'm not happy with where I am today because I'm not the ideal version of myself. I'm not the man that God has made me to be yet. And so that's what it is. It's continuously working towards that single goal in your life. And so after I have this conversation with me, I jumped back into this program called 75 Hard. I've talked about it a little bit on the channel. And basically this program is 2 45-minute workouts a day. You read 10 pages out of a book, you drink a gallon of water, and you follow a strict diet and you don't drink alcohol. Well, for me, I never really drank alcohol very much. I still smoked weed at the time, so still smoked throughout this whole process, which at that point I didn't realize, like, I should have just quit that too. Like, instead of, since I don't drink anyways, I should have just substituted that for weed. But I get like a month, 2 months into this, and I am seeing some results. I had probably lost like 10 pounds at this point. But yeah, so probably like 2 months in. And I come across one of my buddies from back in the day. Like, I grew up with this guy. And when we were growing up, this dude was skinny, like super skinny. And this dude currently today is like, he's got like a bodybuilder physique. So I'm like, you know what, dude? I know that this is a different change because you went from skinny to jacked, but I think I can go from fat to thin, or to, in shape, because I saw how skinny that dude used to be. So he could clearly do it. Why can't I? And so I reached out to him. He put me through a, fitness coaching, gave me a diet plan. Eat this every single day of the week, get this amount of steps in, and do these workouts and follow them consistently. And I did. And I did for like, I was working with him for probably a few months. And then this is kind of at the time I was going through a divorce and everything like that. So I fell off using him, but I continued to use the things that he taught me. He taught me so many valuable things that were, important and kind of just that we don't look at. Like, because everybody that's online is going to tell you about this caloric deficit. Every fitness influencer will tell you about a caloric deficit. And that's true. But you can be in a caloric deficit and eat McDonald's every day. You can be in a caloric deficit and still eat pizza and tacos and all of this stuff that's not good. But until you start eating right and filling yourself with protein, that's when like you see the real difference. Because you can be in a caloric deficit, eat tacos, and you'll feel, tired. You'll be really drained because you're eating bad food. You're eating like this processed food and this just junk stuff that, God didn't really intend us to eat. It wasn't like, this isn't like natural stuff from the earth. This is like food that's not even the food that they say it is a lot of the times. And so when I changed that, I went hard for like a few months until he was like, you could have a cheat day. And I finally had like some sushi. And before, whenever I was on like these like serious plans, is I would go crazy hard for like the 75 days, and then I hit day 76, and then instead of like a cheat meal, it was like I'm going back to it before I'm eating everything. And the snacking and everything, this continues to be a problem because we have so many like calories in what we drink and the little snacks that like you might not think they carry a whole lot of calories, but they do, and they make a big impact on your weight and journey. And so now I've gone from like 230 pounds. Now I hover like 178, 182. That's been my weight the last month or so. And I'm still not like where I want to be. The journey is still like continuing. So like when I said before, I'm proud of where I am today, but I still want to destroy this version of me. I still want to wake up every day and be better than I was the day before, and tomorrow I want to be better than I was today. And so that journey is going to continue. And there's a few things like I'll just, that I think are very important. And I've got a friend of mine that works for me that I've been trying to talk to about this stuff. And it's like, you've got to be lifting weights. Because he's like, oh man, I've been going to the gym, but I just walk. I just walk on the treadmill for an hour or 30 minutes. And it's like, that's not bad that you're at least in the gym and that you're at least getting some cardio in. But you have to be building muscle and getting stronger. And like another like reference for me that kind of like popped in my head when I was going through this is like, do I want to be like a weak dad to where I can't like help my kids and be like strong when they're like teenagers and stuff like that? Because being a weak dad like that, I feel like that just correlates into you being a weak man. And I don't want to be a weak man. I want to be a strong man. And I want to use the tools that God's given me to do good in this world. And if I don't take care of my health and be the best I can with that, then how can I expect to live a fruitful life? And I think that the commitment to being in shape and getting into the gym, I think this spills into every area of your life. Because when it comes to discipline and being a disciplined man, you have to be disciplined in multiple areas. And when you become disciplined in one thing, and I've talked about this in like my goal building video, but if you go and you build on goals and you're like committed to, let's just start with the gym. You're committed to the gym. And you get to the point where that's a habit, where you do it every week. You go consistently, even when you're tired, even when you don't want to, you had a bad day. Then that spills into like business. And it spills into your commitment to Christ and every other area of your life, because you're living so disciplined in one area that the rest of your life, you feel like when you turn on the TV, you feel like you're wasting your time. And it's because you are. And so that's what I would say. Build that discipline within yourself. Commit to being better today than you were yesterday. And set your goals. Set a goal to where you want to be physically. And these things are going to be like, this is such a big hill to climb. But there's nobody that reaches success without climbing the uphill battle. There's nobody that is in incredible shape that didn't put the work in. You don't just wake up and be jacked one day. That's never happened. I remember being younger and like thinking that, oh, we heard about like steroids. You hear about these like baseball players that are doing them, and it was like, oh man, if I just took steroids every day, I'd be jacked. And it's like, no, you wouldn't be jacked if you didn't put the work into the gym. These dudes that are on roids, they still put the work in. They're just fast forwarding the time that it takes for them to heal so that they're able to put more work in to see quicker results. And when you realize all of that like paired together, that'll kind of change things, change your perception on things. And I had a few like little milestones that I started to hit that just really make you feel a lot better about yourself with the weight thing. I remember when I first started, I could barely do like 10 push-ups. I would struggle. And then now it's like I could do like clap push-ups, the push-ups on the medicine ball, bust out 50 push-ups like really pretty easily. Going from like lifting the bar with 25-pound plates on it to lifting 185 on bench, squatting the bar with 25-pound plates on it to squatting 225. So you'll see these little like differences throughout time when you're working on yourself and when you're hitting the gym hard. And that'll boost your confidence so much because the results will be there. And the hard part is, and I've used this analogy before, you got to look at this as like the statue of David, where you have just a block of stone and you chip at that block every single day of your life. You continue to chip at it because in reality, you might not ever reach that perfect goal of yours, but to get there is going to take so much time. And I was in the gym for like 2-3 months, and I'd still look in the mirror and still have those thoughts like, man, you're fat. I'm still disappointed. Even today, nowadays, I still have some of those thoughts. And you don't really notice any changes right away. So it's the long-term run when it comes to these goals that you have to continuously work at things before you see the results. But when you do, It'll make your whole life better, and I can only speak from experience with that. But if you made it this far in the video, please like and subscribe. My goal in this channel is to share my insight from my life so others don't have to make the same mistakes as me, or that they can learn from some of the things that I've applied to my life to improve their own, and ultimately to help lead others to Christ. But as always, thank you for tuning in, and God bless.